Good morning. Good Sunday morning, December the 15th, 2024. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone is preparing their heart and their mind to be in God's house this morning, worshiping our great God. And hope you're ready to continue our reading from the Robert Murray M'Cheyne one-year reading plan. We're in day 351, and it's moving right along as we're 10 days away from Christmas. And just excited to be reading God's Word and closing out this year in our reading. We're going to be in 7 chapters this morning, so we've got quite a bit of ground to cover. We're in Second Chronicles chapters 19 and 20, Revelation chapter 8, Zechariah chapter 4, and Psalms 126, 127, and 128 this morning. So join me as we read God's Word together. Second Chronicles chapter 19. Then Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, returned in peace to his house in Jerusalem. And Jehu, the son of Hanani, the seer, went out to meet him to his face and said to King Jehoshaphat, "Should you help the wicked and love those who hate Yahweh and so bring wrath on yourself from Yahweh? But some good has been found in you, for you have purged the Asheroth from the land, and you have set your heart to seek God." So Jehoshaphat lived in Jerusalem. Indeed, he returned and went out among the people from Beersheba to the hill country of Ephraim, and caused them to return back to Yahweh, the God of their fathers. And he appointed judges in the land and all the fortified cities of Judah in each city. And he said to the judges, "Consider what you are doing, for you do not judge for man, but for Yahweh, who is with you when you render judgment. So now, then, let the dread of Yahweh be upon you. Be careful what you do, because with Yahweh our God there is no unrighteousness or partiality or the taking of a bribe." In Jerusalem also Jehoshaphat appointed some of the Levites and priests and some of the heads of the fathers' households of Israel for the judgment of Yahweh and to judge disputes. So they returned to Jerusalem. Then he commanded them, saying, "Thus you shall do in the fear of Yahweh, faithfully and wholeheartedly. Whenever any dispute comes to you from your brothers who live in their cities, between blood and blood, between law and commandment, statutes and judgments, you shall warn them, so that they may not be guilty before Yahweh, and wrath may not come on you and your brothers. Thus you shall do, and you will not be guilty. And behold, Amariah, the chief priest, will be over you in all that pertains to Yahweh, and Zebadiah, the son of Ishmael, the ruler of the house of Judah, in all that pertains to the king. Also the Levites shall be officers before you. Be strong and act, and Yahweh be with the one who is good." Now to 2 Chronicles chapter 20. One second. Now it happened after this that the sons of Moab and the sons of Ammon, together with some of the Ammonites, came to make war against Jehoshaphat. Then some came and told Jehoshaphat, saying, "A great multitude is coming against you from beyond the sea, out of Aram, and behold, they are in Hazazon Tamar, that is, En Gedi." And Jehoshaphat was afraid and set his face to seek Yahweh and called for a fast throughout all Judah. So Judah gathered together to seek help from Yahweh, they even came from all the cities of Judah to seek Yahweh. Then Jehoshaphat stood in the assembly of Judah and Jerusalem in the house of Yahweh before the new court. And he said, "O Yahweh, the God of our fathers, are you not God in the heavens? And are you not ruler over all the kingdoms of the nations? Power and might are in your hand, so that no one can take their stand against you. Did you not, O our God, dispossess the inhabitants of this land before your people Israel, and give it to the seed of Abraham, your friend, forever? And they have lived in it, and have built your sanctuary there for your name, saying, should evil come upon us, the sword, or judgment, or pestilence, or famine, we will stand before this house and before you. for your name is in this house, and cry to you in our distress, and you will hear and save us. So now, behold, the sons of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, whom you did not let Israel invade when they came out of the land of Egypt, they turned aside from them and did not destroy them. And behold, they are rewarding us by coming to drive us out from your possession, which you have caused us to possess. O our God, will you not judge them? For we are powerless before this great multitude are coming against us, and we do not know what we should do, but our eyes are on you. Now all Judah was standing for Yahweh with their little ones, their wives, and their children. Then in the midst of the assembly, the Spirit of Yahweh came upon Jahaziel, the son of Zechariah, the son of Benaiah, the son of Jael, the son of Mattaniah, the Levite of the sons of Asaph. And he said, Pay attention, all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem and King Jehoshaphat. Thus says Yahweh to you, do not fear or be dismayed because of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. Tomorrow go down against them. Behold, they will come up by the ascent of Ziz, and you will find them at the end of the valley in front of the wilderness of Jeriel. You need not fight in this battle. Take your stand and see the salvation of Yahweh on your behalf, O Judah and Jerusalem. Do not fear or be dismayed. Tomorrow go out to face them, for Yahweh is with you. So Jehoshaphat bowed his head with his face to the ground, and all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell down before Yahweh, worshiping Yahweh. Then the Levites from the sons of the Kohathites and of the sons of the Korahites rose up to praise Yahweh, the God of Israel, with a very loud voice. And they rose early in the morning and went out to the wilderness of Tekoa. When they went out, Jehoshaphat stood and said, Listen to me, O Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem. Establish your faith in Yahweh your God, and you will be established. Establish your faith in his prophets and succeed. When he had taken counsel with the people, he caused those who sang to Yahweh and those who praised him to stand in holy attire as they went out before the army, saying, Give thanks to Yahweh, for his loving kindness endures forever. When they began singing for joy and praising, Yahweh set ambushes against the sons of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, who had come against Judah, so they were defeated. Indeed, the sons of Ammon and Moab stood against the inhabitants of Mount Seir to devote them to destruction and to utterly eradicate them. And when they had finished with the inhabitants of Mount Seir, they helped bring one another to ruin. Now Judah came to the lookout of the wilderness, and they turned toward the multitude, and behold, there were corpses falling on the ground, and no one had escaped. So Jehoshaphat and his people came to take their spoil, and found among them, including goods, garments, and valuable things, which they took for themselves, more than they could carry. And they were 3 days taking the spoil, because there was so much. Then on the 4th day they assembled in the valley of Berachah, for there they blessed Yahweh. Therefore they named that place the valley of Berachah until today. And every man of Judah and Jerusalem returned with Jehoshaphat at their head, returning to Jerusalem with gladness, for Yahweh had made them glad over their enemies. And they came to Jerusalem with harps, lyres, and trumpets to the house of Yahweh. And the dread of God was on all the kingdoms of the lands when they heard that Yahweh had fought against the enemies of Israel. So the kingdom of Jehoshaphat was quiet, for his God gave him rest all around. Thus Jehoshaphat reigned over Judah. He was 35 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 25 years. His mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi, and he walked in the way of his father Asa, and did not turn away from it, doing what is right in the sight of Yahweh. The high places, however, were not taken away. The people had not yet set their hearts to the God of their fathers. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat, first to last, behold, they are written in the chronicles of Jehu the son of Hanani, which is recorded in the book of the kings of Israel. Afterwards, Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, allied himself with Ahaziah, king of Israel. He acted wickedly in doing so. So he allied himself with him to make ships to go to Tarshish, and they made the ships in Ezion Geber. Then Eleazar, the son of Dodavihu of Mareshah, prophesied against Jehoshaphat, saying, because you have allied yourself with Ahaziah, Yahweh has destroyed your works. So the ships were broken and could not go to Tarshish. Now to Revelation chapter 8. When he opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven for about half an hour. Then I saw the seven angels who stand before God, and the seven trumpets were given to them. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and made incense, and much incense was given to him, so that he might add it to the prayers of all the saints on the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense went up with the prayers of the saints out of the angel's hands before God. Then the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar and threw it to the earth, and there followed peals of thunder and sounds and flashes of lightning and an earthquake. The seven angels who had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound them. And the first sounded, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and they were thrown to the earth. And a third of the earth was burned up, and a third of the trees were burned up, and all the green grass was burned up. And the second angel sounded, and something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea. And a third of the sea became blood, and a third of the creatures which were in the sea, those which had life, died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch. And it fell on a third of the rivers and on the springs of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And a third of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the waters because they were made bitter. And the fourth angel sounded, and a third of the sun, and a third of the moon, and a third of the stars were struck, so that a third of them would be darkened, and the day would not shine for a third of it, and the night in the same way. Then I looked, and I heard an eagle flying in mid-heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to those who dwell on the earth, because of the remaining blasts of the trumpet of the three angels who are about to sound. And now to Zechariah chapter 4. Then the angel who was speaking with me returned and roused me as a man who is roused from his sleep. And he said to me, What do you see? And I said, I see, and behold, a lampstand, all of gold, with its bowl on the top of it, and its 7 lamps on it, with 7 spouts belonging to each of the lamps which are on the top of it. Also 2 olive trees by it, one on the right side of the bowl, and the other on its left side. Then I answered and said to the angel who was speaking with me, saying, What are these, my Lord? So the angel who was speaking with me answered and said to me, Do you not know what these are? And I said, No, my Lord. Then he answered and spoke to me, saying, This is the word of Yahweh to Zerubbabel, saying, Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, says Yahweh of hosts. What are you, O great mountain? Before Zerubbabel you will become a plain, and he will bring forth the top stone with shouts of grace, grace to it. Also the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, The hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this house, and his hands will finish it. Then you will know that Yahweh of hosts has sent me to you. For who has despised the day of small things? But these 7 will be glad when they see the plumb line in the hand of Zerubbabel. These are the eyes of Yahweh which roam to and fro throughout the earth. Then I answered and said to him, What are these 2 olive trees on the right of the lampstand and on its left? And I answered the second time and said to him, What are the 2 olive branches which are beside the 2 golden pipes, which empty the golden oil from themselves? So he spoke to me, saying, Do you not know what these are? And I said, No, my Lord. Then he said, These are the 2 anointed ones who are standing by the Lord of all the earth. And now to Psalms chapter 126. A Song of Ascents. When Yahweh returned the captive ones of Zion, we are like those who dream. We were like those who dream. Then our mouth was filled with laughter, and our tongue with shouts of joy. Then they said among the nations, Yahweh has done great things for them. Yahweh has done great things for us. We are glad. Restore our captivity, O Yahweh, as the streams in the Negev. Those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. He who goes to and fro weeping, carrying his bag of seed, shall indeed come again with a shout of joy, carrying his sheaves with him. Out of Psalms 127. Song of Ascents of Solomon. Unless Yahweh builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless Yahweh watches the city, the watchman keeps awake in vain. It is in vain that you rise up early, that you sit out late. O you who eat the bread of painful labors, for in this manner he gives sleep to his beloved. Behold, children are an inheritance of Yahweh. The fruit of the womb is a reward, like arrows in the hand of a warrior. So are the children of one's youth. How blessed is a man who fills his quiver with them. They will not be ashamed when they speak with enemies in the gate. And now to Psalms 128. A Song of Ascents. How blessed is everyone who fears Yahweh, who walk in his ways. When you shall eat of the fruit of the labor of your hands, how blessed will you be, and how well will it be for you. Your wife shall be like a fruitful vine in the innermost parts of your house, your children like olive plants all around your table. Behold, for thus shall the man be blessed who fears Yahweh. May Yahweh bless you from Zion, that you may see the prosperity of Jerusalem all the days of your life. Indeed, may you see your children's children. Peace be upon Israel. And that is going to conclude our reading this morning from God's Word. 7 chapters covered this morning as we're moving right along. We got to get it all in before the end of the year. All the rest of these Psalms, I love reading the Psalms. They're so encouraging. They can be challenging, but also encouraging. I still am amazed as we read in the Old Testament, especially here in Second Chronicles, as we're chronicling of kings' lives, and we've been speaking about Jehoshaphat the past couple of days, and Jehoshaphat, for most of his reign, has done well. He's followed after God, and then you see here at the end, he aligns himself with the king of Israel, and it was something that he shouldn't have done. He went out on his own, didn't seek God. Went to align himself with Ahaziah to go get some wood and make some ships, and kind of create himself a navy, and didn't seek God for it, and didn't end up well. That all that effort and all those ships were wrecked, and were not able to go to Tarshish. The fickle heart of man, we follow after so many things and want to go our own way instead of seeking the will of God. I know I can be that way plenty of times in my life, and it's foolish to think that way. Hope that's not you this morning. Hope you're preparing yourself this morning to be with God's people in God's house in worship of our great God. We're somewhere where God's word is preached without apology, where we can get instruction on how we are to live and obey. Hope you have a blessed day. Soli Deo Gloria.